Hello and welcome to HTC's podcast. We are here to shine a light on Hybrid's toughest characters and relive our most memorable moments. I'm Chris.
And I'm Deacon.
Let's start this thing.
Let me just say one thing. If you put any man, woman, child, or animal in front of me on a mat, I'm gonna take them too. HTC, best team in Australia.
Hello and welcome to the HTC podcast. Today we are joined by not one, but two special guests. We are a couple of weeks post the last Legion fight card, and I thought to myself, I'm like, how can I make an interesting podcast? Let's try and get some perspectives from somebody who's had a couple of fights already in Legion, and then somebody who's had their first fight. So today I'd like to welcome to everybody, Lachlan Gunshots Lock Smith over here, and Bobby, well I call him Nonsense Stocks, but Bobby Stocks over here as well. So just so everyone knows, a little bit of information for background purposes here. Lockie came down, he moved down from the north down to the south, did some PTs with me, decided he wanted to get into the fight team, have a fight, all that sort of thing. So it was his first, and Bobby already 2-0, going in for his third fight, and this was your first with elbows, is that correct, Bobby?
Yeah, first without shin pads and first with elbows as well.
Nice. So welcome to you both. What I would like to do today is basically just hear you guys out about your experience for the fight camp, the fight day, the fight itself. What things you've learned from it, what you things you wish you did a bit differently now. I'm just genuinely intrigued. So I guess I'll probably start with you, Bobby, as somebody who's had probably a little bit more experience. Coming into this fight, obviously it was a pretty big matchup that was pretty excitable. I kind of remember you coming in here and like, yeah, I'm fighting Derek. Like you're pretty pumped up. You were, it was hard to keep a lid on you. So, A, how did you feel about getting quite a big matchup like that? And B, was there a little bit of additional pressure being sort of 2-0 going into this fight?
I did feel a little bit of pressure just because of obviously the 2-0 and wanting to keep that going for as long as possible, I hope. But I was very excited about the matchup with Derek, mainly just due to his experience level. He's had, I think, close to double my amount of fights now.
Yep.
And obviously being the head striking coach from Trojan as well, it was a big step up in terms of challenge for me in that fight. But the team got me ready for it, especially Jake Marshall, who previously fought Derek and won.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So watching you guys do fight rounds was pretty savage with the elbows in there, it's so interesting to just watch you train because you've always trained with big bodies your whole life. You don't seem put off by it at all. So when I had a few people around like, oh, how do you reckon Bobby's going to go with Derek? Derek's a pretty big guy, used to be a heavyweight. Yada yada. Don't worry about Bobby. People have been trying to knock sense into Bobby for a long time, and it's not going to work. So obviously I had all the faith in the world in you. I knew you were going to have a good gas tank, all that sort of stuff, and it showed that you were very well prepared. Obviously a little bit of pressure you felt from that. I said the undefeated streak and wanted to keep it going. Did you get any sort of rubbish from any of your friends about that, or?
Not really. I just mainly had my mate Flynn, who used to come in here and train quite a bit, still does a lot of grappling, essentially just talking a bit of shit here and there, and Braden giving me words of encouragement over socials, which was very good.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. Good old Braden. He does. In public, he won't show you the love, but in private, he will show you the love there, Bobby Stocks.
He will chat a lot of shit in public and then send me a message after I've gotten home from training, go, oh, I'm really sorry about that, man.
And what about you, Lockie, mate? So obviously, it's a pretty big journey to get a jump on in the cage there. Give us a little bit of your background, maybe even prior to joining us at the gym and that fateful phone call that one day. So where did you start your martial arts journey and why?
Yeah, for sure. So it's some great questions, Chris. So when I started my martial arts journey was when I was a kid, doing a bit of karate. I got into combat sports a little bit later. But one of the things that I always wanted to do was have a full contact fight in some sort. And I sort of had a love for Muay Thai that I found later sort of in my teens. So I remember ringing up the gym. I'd gotten out of shape. I was into some, bad habits. I remember ringing you up and chatting with you. And I even remember saying, I'd love to do a Legion fight. And then I came in, started doing PTs with you, met all the guys in the team, did the fight team grading. and then got the opportunity to actually represent HTC in Legion fight sports and have that experience. So it was something that I wanted to do for a while, and it was a really rewarding feeling going in there and actually experience it as opposed to like watching Legion. So I've been to many shows and watched a lot of fight shows, but actually being there is something completely different.
Yeah, no, precisely. And as somebody who's actually a Legion fan as well, right? Like, we're pretty blessed. Like, we can all agree that having Legion is such a boon for Tasmanian fight sports. You know, be able to get you onto like a card that's run well matched. You know, you don't see many like terrible judging decisions like you do in local boxing. It's really cool to get it there and have a good fair go like that. What was the first Legion you went and watched, Lockie?
The first Legion I watched was Legion 13, and that was back in 2021. So when I was training at my previous combat sports gym in Ulverston, one of my friends, he was having his first fight, so I came to Legion to watch him. And then I went to watch another guy from that gym compete and watch my mate have his second fight. So traveling from the northwest and going to Lonnie, going there, watching the fights, seeing HTC competing back then. I remember watching Henry's fight, his second fight, and you walking out with Henry in the big wolfskin hat. And I thought, when I go to Hobart, I want to wear that wolfskin hat. And I want to meet this coach. He looks pretty gangster. So, yeah, that's what happened.
You don't have to butter me up, buddy. But yeah, you've worn that wolfskin now, mate. That's the most dangerous thing in the gym now. That's never been washed. It's been with us since my first fight. Like, so many people have had sweat in there, blood in there. It is actually, it's going to start crawling in its own soon. It's a running experiment. And what about you, Bobster? Right. So this fight camp. Sorry, I don't change the topic dramatically. But fight camp. I want to go over this for both of you. All right. So start the fight camp. You obviously knew who you were fighting. You've been through this a couple of times before. What were your your biggest concerns straight off the bat? Was it your fitness, your weight? Was it technique or the change of rules? What were your sort of like your main things? Like, I have to get cracking here.
Because my first opponent was Isaiah, and he unfortunately had to pull out due to, I assume, an injury. I'm not sure. Probably should have messaged him about that. But my main thing was, I was worried about the rule set and the elbows.
Yeah.
And the weight I felt comfortable with. I've dropped way more before for my first fight, as you know, and you and Addy definitely gave me a slap on the wrist for that.
Yes, we did.
But, one thing I was very worried about was the size of Derek, because he is very, very large. He's a very, very tall man with very long arms.
Yeah.
So obviously my style is getting on the inside and trying to tear up the body and round shots. But I was very curious whether I was actually going to be able to do that.
Yeah. Along
with the clinch, because obviously my clinch has gotten better throughout my fights.
Yeah.
But I just really wanted to work on that for this camp, and having Jake and you and Drummond as well help me with that was really good. Also, Zach's clinch knees. Oh my God.
He's the old danger dad, man. He gave you a bit of a burn just before we started the podcast, which is great. Love that. So shout out to Zachy again, the old danger dad. It's I don't even know how to describe him. He's the rough ground for everyone in the whole gym at the moment. I love it. I think it's brilliant. It's a good role. It's a role I don't have to fulfill anymore, which is good because you guys are all better than me now.
You trained him up well.
Oh, he did it all by himself. But what about you, Locke? So what were your biggest concerns, mate? Like coming into, like when it was, actually this is a bit of other background info. So Lockie did a Gladiator challenge before this is, before he got the okay to fight for us. And you know, you performed really well doing that, which is like a mock fight camp. You got your 8 weeks, you prepare, you have your exhibition fight. Performed outstandingly, instantly got a yes from all of us coaches at the gym to fight, which was really good to see the smile beam across your face for it, which is really, really cool. It obviously meant the world to you. But then actually going into a fight camp for real, what was sort of especially at the start, what were your main sort of concerns?
I guess one of my main concerns was actually like putting in the work that I felt was required by the coaches. Like doing the Gladiator, there's always that sense of, at the end of the day, if I fail, that doesn't have any negative outcome for the gym's reputation. But like going into a real fight camp, really being on Legion, that's been this goal of mine, and being sort of new to Hybrid Training Center, I really wanted to make sure that I hit all the goals that were set. So that was something I was nervous about. I'd only sort of recently joined the fight team too. So obviously when you actually go and fight, that's an individual component, but it's really a team sport. So some of the things are really trying to get along and get to know some of the other people on the fight team that I hadn't actually trained with much prior or during the Gladiator, being a part of the team. And I suppose the hardest thing was just cardio. Cardio was really difficult.
Cardio's king.
Yeah. When I get exhausted, I get exhausted. So I was a bit surprised doing fight rounds for the first time and realising just how much it takes it out of you.
Yeah, well, you think, C-class, 90-second rounds, I could do anything for 90 seconds. That's the longest 90 seconds of your life, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure of it. Now, you were talking about sort of getting to know the team. Like, obviously, that's something that, I hope you don't mind me sharing because I'm going to anyway. But, like, when you called me up, you were obviously a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous. You just wanted to do one-on-one sessions with me for a little bit and slowly introduce yourself to the gym. And do you think doing that fight camp has really brought you into the circle with the fight team and you feel closer?
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I joined the fight, I passed the grading and I was a part of the fight team, but I actually didn't really feel like I was a part of the team until getting a couple more beatings from Zach and then kind of getting to know him a little bit better. That was definitely a big aspect in it actually, but also just meeting some people that you see them in the sessions, but getting to know them on the Saturdays, especially the Saturday, fight rounds. Those are really important sessions. And even when we all went to Launceston and we had the big Airbnb and there was 7 of us fighting on the card, those are really good opportunities to actually grow your relationships with your friends and your coaches, and then that just helps the entire team's performance for the next camps.
I can see you smiling now, so it's obviously a good fond memory you're always going to have. I think it's super awesome. When you got a good crew, a good fight card, you guys had a really good group of people to go in and fight. It was really fun being in the change rooms. Normally I used to feel pretty nervous in there. I just had an absolute blast. I had an absolute blast the whole time. I wasn't worried for your safety outside of normal sort of thing. You guys were really well prepared, and I felt comfortable about that. The the process was good. The atmosphere was great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, it's just really interesting to hear you say that, and so to see the smile just sort of appear then when you were talking about the Airbnb experience, because that's the other thing is it's not all about the fight. It's it's everything else around it. When you guys you're tired, you're beaten up, you're hungry, you haven't had KFC in a long time, and you're feeling a bit sooky. I get sooky fight camps. It's horrible. But then having people around you who have got you back, who are holding you to account, but in a kind of that kind of compassionate way. I think it's worth more than $1 million to me. I think it's really special. And so for you to go through that experience and they said well, I'll ask you, I guess, do you feel fully accepted and as a part of the crew now?
100%. I'm always there. I'm always coming in. I was talking to someone else the other day about training and coming here to HTC. I come to train because I like training and I like fighting, sparring, and I like the idea of competing and having that experience. But the main reason I come in is just to hang out with my mates now. I just come in to hang out and just chat amongst it. Really, that's the main reason I'm here. But all the other training and getting in those camps, those are just, other opportunities to hang out with your mates and have a good time.
Yeah, nice. Well, it's funny because sorry, Bobby. I said I wasn't going to roast you too much, but I'm sorry.
Go on, spit it out.
Yeah, I will. So I still remember the first day I laid eyes on Bobby Stocks. I still remember the first day. So it was when we were first setting up the gym here. We haven't had the cage, everything up properly, just had a nice training space upstairs. Chris Drummond's about to run a class, the Mighty Albatross, and I look up at the bathroom stairs there and I see what I thought was a special needs guy in a Dragon Ball Z, Rashi, and with a matching shorts.
Yeah, they were tie shorts, yeah.
Yeah, you were full Goku'd up. And I saw Bobby and I was like, first, where's his carer? But Bobby back then didn't look the way he does now. Bobby didn't have the big shoulders and the bigger arms and stuff. Bobby was just a sort of a tubby dude that really liked Dragon Ball Z. But then over a little bit of time, you get to know Bobby and be like, he's really game. He talks a lot of rubbish, but he's really game. He gets in there, he spars with Stu. I feel bad for him. Stu's punched him in the head a lot. And then over time, just to sort of, get to train with you, watch you get fitter and better and more confident, better at conversations too, Bobby, better at entering them, all that sort of stuff. It's been really, really cool. that like it's obvious that you're a core part of this. I mean, part of the leadership team of the fight group now, man. Like, how does that feel to you to be somebody that I thought was special needs going all the way to now being like sort of one of the, like you are one of the leaders, one of the core group of our fight team. How has that journey been for you, my brother?
It feels really strange because obviously I still kind of see myself as the inexperienced one. Every time I go in there, I still feel like it's like my first batch of fight rounds, like back in the day when it was just Stu beating the shit out of me in a cage. But yeah, I'm still trying to get used to it. Like when a bunch of like, especially like the newer gladiators come up and they like ask me questions or like how am I feeling when it comes to like a fight camp and stuff. And I was like, and I would just go, what are you asking me for? I was like, Zach's right there, Jake's right there, and then it's like, no, but this is like your first fight. I go, oh shit, it is.
Yeah. So it sneaks up on you, right? Like you're the one asking questions and bothering people flat out, and then one day people come and start asking you questions. It's like, when did this happen?
Yeah.
When did this happen? Am I getting old? That was the first thing I thought. Was like, am I getting old or good? And it turns out it was old.
My first thought was, I'm doing bag rounds, guys. Can I have a minute?
There's that too. There's that absolutely too. Now, as far as like, so getting the yes, getting the matchups, all that sort of stuff, injuries, getting what part of the fight camp was the toughest for you? Like say, are we talking right at the start when you're unfit and you're doubting yourself? Was it in the middle when you're sort of a few weeks away and you're kind of getting injured? Was it right at the end when the nerves are kicking in? I'll start with you, Bob. So what was the toughest part of the fight camp? Not fight day, but like up to it.
Definitely like the mental side of it all, like even all throughout fight camp, it was just like the mentality of it of like, okay, this is one where like for my first two fights, I didn't feel like I was in much danger because I was like, 16-ounce gloves, shinnies, no knees to the head, I'll be fine. And in this one, it's like, okay, like if one kick's gonna get checked, it's gonna be the Anderson Silva situation. Please don't have that happen. And the elbows. When I told my dad that there was gonna be elbows in the fight, I think he like almost went pale white when I said there's gonna be elbows to the head.
But how funny is it scaring your parents though?
Yeah, it is pretty fun.
My poor old dad, I aged him so much. so much. Yeah. When he found out about elbows, same thing.
Before I had a fight, Dad was fairly like colour hair. Now it's all just pure white and balding.
Oh, there you go. You've done your job, mate. You've done your job.
I've been successful.
What about you, Locke? So what part of the camp itself did you find the hardest, man?
It's probably like the last 3 or 4 weeks coming like before the fight, because it's like, okay, I think I've done all the hard work, but is it enough? I mean, I did a lot of PTs in my camp as well, and obviously, as you know, you would know, you had a big role in my camp, and so did Deacon and Trossie. But I guess coming out to maybe the last 3 or 4 weeks before the fight, it's like, okay, we're wrapping up now, we're going to taper down a bit. And it's like, but it's still good work that I could have put in. So I suppose getting to the end and then thinking I could have done more, that was a little bit stressful, because then you think about how's that going to impact the fight. That had the biggest impact, I would say, and just like particularly in cardio, like being fit, because you've never done it before, so how do you know if what you've done is enough, right?
Yeah.
So that was probably the biggest impact.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense to me. I know that feeling. I swear everyone must go through it. Well, anyone sensible, I guess. Is, am I fit enough? Am I tough enough? Have I drilled the right things? Like, as Bobby's talking about elbows in his fight, I remember the moment that I thought about elbows. It was literally when they came in, they're like, all right, you're up next. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm fighting elbows. That's literally how it went. I was like about 2 minutes before going, I'm a bit late now, right? And, maybe I should have put a bit more practice into this. But, all's well that ends well, I guess. But yeah, that was a bit of a panicky feeling. Now this is the bit that I'm one of the bits I find very interesting, is the fight day itself. Like, were you calm? Were you nervous? What was racing through your mind? Especially like the fighter briefing. I always find there's like so much tension in the room. You see people looking around their opponent, so you put a lot of weight back on, all that sort of stuff. Like, I guess I'll start with you, Bob. So, fight day, was this one different to the others? Was it the same as the others? How do you deal with it?
It was fairly different because I found out some pretty bad family news on the Thursday before we drove up. So we won't get into that, but so I had that just kind of like in the back of my mind, and it didn't really come back out until like Zach went out the fight and I was straight after, and I just kind of like had the minute where Jake was doing his own thing and I was just there on my own. I was just like a well of emotions going through. So I was trying to like put that aside and just try purely focus on a fight, which I was struggling with for a little bit. Then I just had a bit of a chat with Jake and James, and that was all good after that. After also hitting a wall a little bit. I honestly felt like I almost broke my right hand hitting that wall. And I was like, probably don't tell him that.
It is kind of funny because you're a pretty happy-go-lucky, lovable, nonsense-speaking bloke. To see you get intense is actually it's actually unnerving a little bit. So that's on the Bobby I know. Where's the fun-loving Bobby? The Bobby has got a little bit of a demon on his shoulder. Is actually kind of scary. So seeing you amp up like that, I knew you were ready to fight, ready to go for war. As I said, if you don't want to go into the details about this family thing, that's obviously well and truly fine. But did you find having the fight helped you deal with whatever was going on in your life?
Definitely, yeah. And then obviously, like, there was the closure on the Thursday and that, like, I still got to, like, talk to people and stuff about it before. And I was also, like, I didn't want to bring it up to anyone at the Airbnb or anything because I was like, I don't want to dampen anyone else's mood. I don't want to ruin their moods for their fight.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, just the final, like, little bit before I went and walked out, it just kind of came back and just hit like a truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once I walked out, it just, like, the second my music hits and, like, old mate yells out my name, I'm like, all right, let's go.
That little switch gets flipped again and it's back to fight Bobby time.
Yeah. Essentially, that's how it is. It just goes, all right, well, we're done now. I can't really turn around. So, no, I'm done.
Well, obviously your fight, like always, was at a like really high pace. Like having something kind of meaningful happen, to you and your family before the fight, like, did that give you any extra fuel when things got tough? Or was that completely out of your mind? It was just the task.
Yeah, it was mainly just like the task. Like a little bit between rounds, it kind of came back.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was just trying to focus on what you and Drummond and what James was saying. James essentially would just look at me and go, all right, Super Saiyan Bob. And then Chris would say it back and I'm like, you sons of bitches.
Ah, that's awesome. I rate that. I truly do. You are really good fun to corner. I feel really privileged. I get a front row seat to your fights. That's the way I see it. Like, I'm like, I get to be this close to a Bobby Stocks fight. What a privilege.
I do remember just before just after I asked you to be in the corner for my first fight, you just went, I'm going to be honest, I'm very nervous about that fight.
Oh, I was. You've gotten a lot better. You were like, well, I guess I kind of deserved it because I probably went in with the same mentality. It's like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to be violent, whatever happens, And I think you were a lot like that to start with. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I have to be close to this. It was a real worry. But no, you, after the end of the first round when I was like, oh, is he going to gas out? He's going to gas out. And then second round starts, you go out and you were like on fire again. And Tross just looked at me and was like, this is fucking awesome. That's when I finally let go. I was like, yeah, gotta trust Bobby. Bobby knows how to fight. And what about you, Lockster, mate? What about you? What about that whole journey for you, my friend?
So on the fight day itself, I kind of found myself thinking about the night prior, because obviously the night prior was the weigh-ins and a face-off with your opponent and all that sort of action. So I sort of thought about, I hadn't obviously met my opponent, didn't know anything about them, and I'd never had a Legion or a real like weigh-ins and face-off. So I was kind of reflecting on, okay, this is my opponent, okay, this is what they look like. This dude, how am I going to beat this guy? I was thinking, like, when we actually arrived and they were giving us, the briefing at Legion, I was looking around at all the different gyms and affiliations. It was actually really serious and calm, which I didn't think. I thought I would be really nervous. Even when, like, I was warming up, because I was first representing hybrid. Mine was the second match of the night. It didn't feel real until the point in which the door shut and my opponent had already like arrived in the cage. That's when it was like, oh, okay, I'm actually going and fighting, and the whole crowd's watching me. So that was definitely the most surreal part of it. But I was like, extremely calm and maybe a bit serious, but like being in like the actual environment in the change rooms and maybe just having the whole team around you as well can be a bit distracting, especially earlier in the day when, we went out and we got like brunch and just chatting just casually without obviously taking into account the fact we're all going to be punching on that night. So there was like different factors that were stemming about, that's for sure.
So that calm before the storm, you find that a little bit unnerving, do you? Like a bit, like everyone's a bit jovial and you're like, we're fighting tonight.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of wanted to just like get over and done with. So, you know,
Yes.
there's some points where I was thinking, okay, in an hour's time, like, I can't remember roughly what time I fought. It must have been about 7:15, something like that. I remember thinking maybe it's 6. Okay, in an hour, I'm going to be in the cage fighting. What's going to be the outcome? Am I going to win? How did I win? If I lost, how did I lost? What are those? Because visualization was definitely a big thing that I used during this Legion fight. Tross really wanted us using visualization, so I did some work with Kurt Tropiano. So really and I'm definitely someone that like thinks about the future and how that's going to look. So I kind of had myself thinking in the clouds at some stages.
Yeah, okay. And did you find that sort of breathing and visualization did help bring you back down to like, all right, back in the moment a bit more now, here, ready to go?
Yeah, definitely. And having Tross, he's really into that, and Jake as well, being able to debrief with them and tell them how I'm feeling. Like I remember I was feeling really G'd up at one point, sort of like, I don't know, around lunchtime, and Tross was, telling me he didn't want me, super G'd up now, because then you're not going to be in that zone at, your full energy level later to, take that time. And talking to Jake, given that, he's a war marshal, right? They call him Jake Marshall, the war marshal. So, getting to chat to him, getting his insights, given that he'd had so many fights and he'd done it all these times, he was really someone to look up to. So having those guys made it a lot easier.
He's such a presence in that room, isn't he? He like such a presence in that room. Like, for those of you who don't know, Jake has actually recently retired from combat sports. So obviously, the whole of Tasmania's, experienced quite a big loss from that. But look, we just got to be thankful for the fights we got out of him. Like, there wasn't a boring one amongst them, and what a privilege to have him, like yourself, move down from up north, and be a part of this team and sharing a lot of those memories. And as I said, like, his presence in that room, like, that's awesome. Like, see, that's reassuring, it's calming. You're still aware you're going to war. There's all of that sort of stuff. It's not too jovial. So no, he's awesome like that. Can you share a card with someone like that? What a privilege, man. What a privilege.
Yeah, I was super honoured to have my first fight be on his last. It was awesome.
Now tell me, before you had this fight, Lockie, you told me that you were going to be a one and a done type of guy. Are you planning on having another Legion fight?
Yeah, so I thought I was one and done. It turns out I was completely wrong. I really want to fight again now, having that experience and realising what it actually feels like. Like, I thought it was going to hurt, like in C class. I thought getting kicked was going to really hurt, and getting punched in the face and getting kneed without, any protection is actually fine. Like, I suppose adrenaline is a beauty, but yeah, it was really exciting, and now I want to test myself again and represent hybrid again and try and improve and maybe have one or maybe 2 more fights.
Yeah, we'll see. You won't get addicted yet, or the lifestyle and the hard fight camps. Yeah, they're also hard too. Do you think it has changed you having a fight?
Yeah, definitely. It was something that, like, I always thought, like, martial arts helped me overcome, many different goals in my life. And the final stepping stone, for me at least, in my view as the journey as a martial artist, is having some form of real live competition. And for me, having a Legion fight was a really big moment for me, actually, and it was quite transformative. But also just the actual aspect of being in a fight camp, it's such a discipline building skill, right? So now I find, even though I'm not on a fight camp, I'm extremely disciplined for the most part, with other habits, and just coming into the gym and making sure I'm always there. Like, I feel like I should be there training most nights. I shouldn't be at home just chilling out playing video games. I should be in the gym with my team. So yeah, it's definitely changed me.
Good. I'm really glad to hear that. And it's obviously all for the positive. I've got to see it happen before my eyes. I've seen you lose weight, gain confidence, gain a lot of skills, obviously. I feel like you're a lot more at peace with yourself. You don't seem so socially anxious anymore. You seem happy to engage with people. Would you say my assessment's pretty accurate there?
Yeah, it's definitely very accurate.
Well, I personally feel really privileged to get to be a part of all of that. It's one thing that I really like being, like, when I hate saying this, one of the older guys in the gym, is I really do get to see how martial arts changes you, and then competition, that's at next level. Like, martial arts changes everyone, I think, for the better. The people who actually can go through and commit for long enough to get good enough and be disciplined enough to actually get in there and fight, join a very exclusive club, and I think that privilege is not lost on anybody. And as I said, I've seen massive positive changes from everybody in this gym that's fought like that. And what about you, Bob? So, now 3-0, like, how do you think fighting's changed you, man?
It's definitely changed me a lot. It definitely, in terms of my confidence as well in competition, being able to also talk to people as well. That's been a big thing. My confidence in me speaking has upped so much. My confidence in competition, my confidence in just more being who I am, because everyone in here, doesn't really matter who or how you come up. It's always just, yep, cool, you can come in, we'll show you how to fight. I really enjoy the whole team aspect of this place.
Can you remember back to your first fight, and do you think it kind of bears any resemblance to Lockie's? Just before we let Lockie go, because he's got to get back to work, from what he's just articulated then, was it similar for you first fight, or was it a bit of a different journey?
It was very similar, especially in terms of like the nervousness of like, oh, how have I done, if I'm prepared enough? Have I done enough to be good enough in there? Am I going to represent me? Am I going to represent my team well? All of that is always in the forefront of your mind as you're about to walk out. And then as you go to walk out, it's just like a numbness comes over you as you walk out.
That's a great way of putting it. A numbness. That's what it bloody is. I've been trying to think about that for years and put it into words. Well done. A numbness comes over you when you're walking out. That's what it is. Well done, Bobby. Never thought you'd be the one to crack that code for me. Thanks, man.
We're not too bad.
So now, just very lastly, so probably we do need to wind this up. I think they've got to record some stuff next door as well. What was your favourite moment from, say, the fight itself? Let's just finish on that one. So from the fight itself, I'll start with you, Lockie. What was your favourite moment of your fight?
It's probably throwing 100 leg kicks. No, but on a real note, it was after the fight and seeing you and seeing Tross and James. I remember Tross saying, that was bloody great. Like, that was an awesome fight to watch. Because, like, in the moment when you're pumped up on adrenaline, like, at least for me, I didn't know actually how I was performing. So for the people on the outside, like my coach was getting to watch, getting to know that I did a good job because I won't see that footage for 2 weeks, definitely made me feel a lot better. So that was my highlight, was making my coaches proud because I put the work in. I tried really hard. So yeah,
it is a good feeling, isn't it? It really is. What about you, Bob, sir?
Definitely a similar feeling, because I do remember as you guys came in, for some reason I felt like I may have not won. I felt like, because I remember as Drummond came up to me, the first thing I asked him was, did I win? And then as I say that, you essentially slammed the hat on me and you just go, yep, because I was refusing to wear that hat unless I won.
Oh, you definitely won.
Yeah.
That was as clear as day. Like, if someone gave that against you, mate, they got rocks in their head. It's funny because you guys have very similar favourite moments to me. My favourite's always like after it's all done and dusted, that those few steps, just walking down the stairs and then seeing everybody like clapping for you, seeing your friends and family, like, and for this Legion, like that walk back into where the doctor's room was, how many people drove up for that, and that was such a special feeling. It was really cool to get to walk behind you guys and just sort of see that magical moment. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Sorry it was a little bit of a short one. I could sit here for a long time. I feel like I'm just sort of getting warmed up with this, but congratulations to both of you on representing the gym and yourselves brilliantly in that last Legion. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you both fight again and seeing what improvements we're going to make, and onwards and upwards, boys. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out? Anything you'd like to say before we tie this thing up?
Shout out to Chris Drummond, the absolute legend. Got to walk out to Lachlan High with him, so it was an awesome experience, and I'm keen for the next one.
I have trained you well. Talking well about Chris Drummond, I have trained you well. What about you, mate?
Yeah, I would like to shout out Jake for just helping me with that fight camp, being the one that I did my fight rounds with, and possibly maybe concussing me just a little bit with some hard hooks. But definitely making me feel comfortable in the cage, and everything I got hit with, I was like, oh, I've dealt with this before.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's awesome. How about that? How about we dedicate this podcast episode today to Jake the General Marshal, hey? So I hope his retirement is peaceful and meaningful, and his life is absolutely full of love and abundance. We are going to miss Jake the General around here, and we're going to put your fights in the link from the Legion thing, I suspect. Thank you so much, boys. Big love to you both.
Thanks, Chris. Big love.